with a good record down in Canberra, however. And they desperately need to leave the nation's capital with 2 competition points tonight. Strange sends it high. And Turbo takes the catch safely at the back after a 5-game stint in the centres. He scored only 1 try this year playing at fullback. Incredible to think. Think about those couple of years where he's almost untouchable. And here's Kohler. We know he's got plenty of pace. So much so that he outguns Xavier Savage. He's down the touchline. Kohler off the left. Turbo might be about to get his second at fullback. Manly have stripped them early. Cheekham there with Lodge in defence. Back to the middle with Fogarty. He sends it to Strange. He dummies, he steps, and he beats them all helplessly. He's a star on the rise, this lad. Ethan Strange with Canberra's first.
Yeah, he's so strong, Ethan Strange.
Starling for Strange. Across to Horsburgh. Lovely ball movement. Here's the speed man, Weeks, linking in with Timokol. He wants to keep it alive. He finds his winger, Xavier Savage. They are so good to watch. Numbers down the short side. Savage went for the intercept. Brooks has got the ball back. He's asking for a restart to the tackle count. He grubbers in behind. He might have been held off the ball for a second there, Brooks. Twice, in fact. We could be a sin bin here. We could be looking at a sin bin.
It's a professional foul, mate.
Saab racing through on this. Turbo's there as well. They put a challenge on Weeks. It bounced off his leg. Sipley's there to pick it up. Can he muscle his way over? He can't, but they've got a fresh set of 6. Oh, another big passage of play here with half-time looming. Bullimore!
2, let him up.
Somehow they stopped him. What an opportunity for the visiting Manly Seagulls. Cheekham. And they're trying to power their way over at the moment. 6 metres short. DCE wrapping around. Kicking in behind. The chase is on. The ball bounces away from Cheekham's. Picked up by Xavier Savage, but he had a bird on the dead ball line. Yeah. 5th and last. Gee, they've had some tackles down on Canberra's goal line and haven't been able to bust them open yet. Turbo. Oh, they just corral him and belt him over the sideline. Well, that was a tackle full of intent. Bullimore through the front door. He nearly stretched out, but Smithies came in there with an excellent try saver.
Yeah, he's looked likely every time he's got the ball, Ethan Bullimore.
Brooks plays flat to Kohler. He steps away from them. He gets another one. He's devastating. Strange. He's exploded through again. There is a bit of Laurie Daly about that. They're off down the left again. Chris Stewart, backhand around the corner. How do you like that? He's off for 3.
That's okay.
Too good.
Wow. Well, they need to find a way to get Tolu Kohler back into the game. He set up the first try to Tom Taborovich.
Oh, Papa has cleaned up poor Jake.
About 15 out.
Oh, Tavanga. He flung it to no one. Chris has picked it up and bounds away. A shocking error by Manly, and they are made to pay the ultimate price.
Yeah, me too.
To the ball, Seb.
Here's Saab now. Taps it back in the direction of Talau. Seb Chris has pounced on it again. He's got Kyo Weeks. Weeks turns Cherry Evans inside out. He's beaten Turbo. Garrick's over there. Back to Seb Chris. So full time in Friday night footy. The Raiders 28 have beaten Manly 12.
Ricky, how pleasing is that response? Obviously lost last week to come out there and have that sort of game.
Yeah, it's a I think from the season we've had, that's a very rewarding response. We're disappointed with our second half last week. Gus asked me there earlier in an interview after the game about last week, and you can't win games of football when you're making 14 errors with the footy, and that's what we did last week. We just didn't give ourselves an even opportunity. But we bounced back the way a good football team should bounce back.
Ethan Strange tonight, 3 tries. Watching on from the sideline, just was that one of the best games you've seen him play through this season? And the way he matched it with Daly Cherry Evans, or was on top of Daly Cherry Evans, a veteran of the game.
Yeah, well, that's I got a very strong opinion of Ethan. I got a very strong opinion of where he's going to go as a player. You have a look at his game today to where he started with us a year and a half, 2 years ago. He's still only 25, 30 games, I suppose, into his career. He's got an unbelievable future in front of him.
Do you believe he's in line for representative honours?
Yeah, I said that on an interview with Channel 9 after the game. I think he'll play for Australia this year and he'll be our next 5'8" for New South Wales. And I don't sit here gloating. I don't sit here as a happy coach saying that. I firmly believe that. He's got Origin attitude, the way he defends, the way he runs the football. He's got qualities of a representative player already as a young person. And as I say, I don't say that outlandishly.
Is it almost more impressive the fact that he did it sort of when you guys had just gone behind, and that's when he scored his next 2?
That's probably a good question for Joe to answer. You look for players with Joe's, like Joe and Papa, Red. They inspire the team when we're under a little bit of fatigue and adversity. The game's not going your way. But for a young player such as Ethan to be able to give off energy to his teammates is it's similar to Laurie Daly when Laurie was a young player playing. And I know I'm talking about big shoes to fill, and you're putting too much pressure on Ethan. Well, bad luck. Handle it. If you're ever going to make it in this game, you've got to handle pressure, and he will.
Joe, have you played alongside 21 with skill like he has, IQ like Ethan?
No, and what he does is he's strong as well, and on the back of stick, like he's still young in his communication stage as well. When he starts to come out of the shower and open up and start talking a bit more, he's going to go to another level. So it's impressive where he is at the moment, but exciting where he can get to too.
I was going to ask about Jed. He had a try-saving tackle on Saab on this right-hand side, and then he had an incredible offload to get Strange that second try. Like, how have you found his development this year since that debut, and what he's adding to this team?
Yeah, like as a coach, it's hard for me to talk about Jed. I'm blown away with the way he's progressed.
Joe, what about what you've seen from Jed playing alongside him?
That's the reason I went to stick and I said he had to debut. He's the best defending winger we have. You see that out there, he puts the effort in. What you don't see is how he works at training and the little extras he does, the vision. And he should be proud of himself. I told him at half time, man, you're killing it, and he done the same second half. So Stick should be proud, and all the boys are.
Joe, when you guys get going, you really get going out there. What is it about that little momentum shift, whether it is that Ethan Strange try that really reignites that spark in the team, and your attack and defence in particular was incredible tonight. So what is it about that little shift in momentum that really gets you boys going?
I think everyone just everyone cooperates in the vision of what we want to be, and when we get a bit off track, we can kind of pull each other in and get that calm head back in. I think that's a progression we've had this year. In the past, we could probably bicker with each other and go off track, but I feel like we have a lot of accountability in this group, and a lot of boys that can pull people back in.
Especially when you lose one of your best playmakers and ball runners for 10 minutes there, you boys really put it on Manly defensively. How does that sort of credit what you guys are building down here? You and the young boys are able to adapt to no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, Stick touched on it. When we go down a man, we actually lift our intensity. And, during training we try and copy that with the whole 13, so we can have that intent from the get-go, and you can feel when someone's off. We want to work harder for each other, fill the gaps, and if we do that with 13 men, who knows what we can do.
What's it sort of like out on the field when Papa's a mood like that?
Yeah, on the bench I said we needed a little momentum shift. I thought he went on the field and changed it. He actually called it. He said, I'm going to run as hard as I can off the back fence, and that's what happens when you get in front of him. So very proud of him. It's an old statement of our team, and he still leads from the front.
Ricky, it was obviously the black armbands and Sam Bacco, and there was a moment before. Just, I suppose that adds to the emotion of tonight, and how much of a legend he was for this club and yourself.
Yeah, he created a great legacy. When we talk about our history and the players that have been before us, Sam Bacco gets a lot of mention. And I know he's had some poor health for a number of months, and he's been through a pretty tough period, and that leads on to the family going through tough times. And we were very fortunate to be able to have dinner with Sam last year at Chika's
birthday.
Well, it was his birthday. No one knows. Chika doesn't tell anyone how old he's anyhow. So let's say his 70th. But it was really nice. Jerry Dela Cruz, Sammy and Chika with their families celebrating Chika's birthday when we played North Queensland last year. It's what we promote heavily with our players, because I want the players to know our history. And there's also Dane Tils's dad, Mick Tils, who was on the bench for our first game. Raider 43, I think. Raider 16. He unfortunately passed this week too, and our prayers and thoughts go out to the Tils family as well.
Steve, just firstly, your initial thoughts, reaction?
Obviously disappointed in the result, but I was really proud of the effort. Obviously, Canberra have been very good this year, and they're in first spot for a reason. So, we felt as though we set the game up pretty well, and we led after 50 minutes or 55 minutes, or whatever it was. And so we did plenty of good things. We just weren't good enough tonight to finish it off in that second half. And, but there's a ton of effort, and we keep turning up with that sort of effort. Same as last week. Things will go our way.
You talked about starting strong. I think it was like Turbo's first tries in the first 4 minutes. It looked so quick, the attack. Like it really felt like there was some sort of spark. Did you feel like that in the coach's box as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as I said, half time we thought we'd set the game up pretty good, although we were down on the scoreboard by 4 points. We did a lot of good things in the first half. We started really strongly, and it was built off the back of that fast start. Yeah, we just weren't good enough to do it for long periods, and we gave them some leg outs. I think we gave away 4 penalties, and that gave Raiders field position. They were able to capitalise.
Where did you feel the improvements are from last week to this week in terms of, still lost, but where did you feel the improvements were for you tonight that you were happy and pleased, that gives you some hope moving forward?
I just looked at our effort for each other. We worked really hard, with regards to our kick chase, and we really suffocated them there for long periods of time. We were making Fogarty kick from inside his 40 for a lot of their sets. But as I said, the thing that we weren't good enough was just a little bit of accuracy in our attack down, attacking their line, and then. We gave, as I said, I think it was 4 yardage penalties, which gave them field position, and they were able to capitalise. And when you're playing against the team that's sitting first and a really consistent side like the Raiders, you got to be squeaky clean with your discipline, and you need to take your opportunities. So, but we had a red hot crack, and we're really disappointed with the result. There's no doubt about it. But look, there was a ton of effort.
Daly, how did you feel the attack was tonight? Do you agree with just the execution and some things that did it feel like was on at the start and then wasn't quite at the end?
Yeah, that's the best way to explain it. There was a lot of opportunity that we couldn't execute it. We just couldn't get it right. So, we've got a bit to work on this week. We've got a long turnaround, so we're going to have plenty of time to get reps in at training and work on that. Steve said there's a ton of effort there, but in this NRL, like, effort's just not going to be enough. So we need to bring that effort next week and then refine our game. Still plenty of confidence within the group. Still a lot of good players in this team. So we need to dust ourselves off. We've got a long turnaround, as I've mentioned. So it's time to recharge and get ready for these final 4 games and really go after them. So really important time of the season for us, obviously. And this rest has come at a good time to regroup.
Ethan Bullimore, he was really how impressed were you with what he was putting out there? It was incredible meters.
Yeah, gave us great impact off the bench. So I think that 40-minute spell of his, probably got close to the line maybe 2 or 3 times there. But he just gave us great impact through the middle of the park, created some momentum for the boys to play off the back of, and I thought he certainly added to us tonight.
Concerning scenes with Jake. That's his third concussion. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, no, really, it is hard to watch. He cared so much about the team, and Josh Papali's one of the biggest players in the competition, and Jakey goes down there and he's trying to turn the tide for us, and the good thing is he's sitting up inside there, but it's Category 1, so he'll definitely miss next week. As you said, I think that might be the 3rd one this season. It's really, it's really disappointing for him and us, and we're already missing, I think, 6 or 7 of our forwards at the moment, and so Jake won't play next week. That's for sure.
As you mentioned, you guys have been rocked by injuries as of late. How do you sort of adapt to losing those big bodies like Jake and Hamole?
Yeah, well, we just we've got the guys who I thought Michael Cheekham for his first game in first grade this year, for someone like that who's been playing second grade all year, he worked really hard, and Aaron Schott played his first game this year, so you had 2 guys playing their first game. And, we keep giving those guys opportunities. Ethan Bullimore had to play longer minutes tonight, and as Eloise said, he was outstanding off the bench for us. So it just means other guys have to pick up the load. Jazz Tavunga was on crutches 6 days ago and didn't train all week, and gets out of bed and plays the minutes he had to play there. And we didn't think he'd play, but we just got to keep dusting ourselves off, and it's not an excuse. We thought we were in a position to win the game tonight, and ultimately we weren't quite good enough.
Tavunga heard a pop in his hip last week, so what was the injury in the end that actually turn around like that?
He's got a strain there, so he didn't train all week. We couldn't play him at 9 because he couldn't bend over, but that's the effort that we got in the group. People don't see that. He literally was on crutches for about 3 or 4 days, and then he doesn't train other than a little fitness test yesterday back in Sydney, and wants to compete hard for the boys, and we've got as I said, we've got a good group there, and they care about it. We're disappointed. It's 3 losses in a row after a great victory over Melbourne and 3 wins in a row.
On these stages, how good do you see this Raiders team has been?
Yeah, they've had a fantastic season, and as Steve's mentioned, they sit first for a reason. We played them in round 3 this year, and can definitely see the growth in them from round 3 this year. So, I'm sure they'll be really confident going in the finals this year, and I'm sure they're proud of their work so far. They've played really well.
How far do you think they can go?
I don't know. We're still trying to worry about getting there. They're obviously well and truly sewn up a finals berth and a potentially top 2 berth, and that's great, but the reality is we can't look around anywhere else. We have to be so focused on what's ahead. As I said, we've got a long turnaround to freshen up, and our priority is the last 4 games and making it count. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.